Hello there. The Home Secretary Shamana Mahmood tells us there will be new legislation to tighten the law on protest and give the police more powers to prevent repeat protests interrupting society. And here's what she's told Sky News.
The legislation that I'm going to bring about is based on the ability of the police to place conditions and restrictions on protests. And what I will be making explicit is that cumulative disruption, that is to say the frequency of particular protests in particular places, is in and of itself a reason for the police to be able to restrict and place conditions. That is to say they can move them to a different place, they can restrict the time that those protests can occur on. So that will unlock all of the broader measures that the police can already do on protests. It's been clear to me in conversations in the last couple of days that there is a gap in the law and there is an inconsistency of practice. So I'll be taking measures immediately to put that right. And I will be reviewing our wider protest legislation as well to make sure the arrangements we have can meet the scale of the challenge that we face, which is protecting the right to protest, but ensuring that our communities can go about their daily business without feeling intimidated, and also that public order can be maintained.
Well, it's only taken government 2 years to get there, and over one of those whole years was under Labour. But be in absolutely no doubt that had the Tommy Robinson Unite the Kingdom rallies been taking place once a month, let alone once a week, for 2 years, they would have been shut down on month 3 permanently. But as ever, the human rights of the settled population come nowhere near those of the interests of the newcomers, especially those from a preferred demographic. And I wonder about the timing of all this. Just as the concerned Brits start finding their voice and making themselves heard, and suddenly the protest crackdown laws are announced. Funny timing that, don't you think, Richard?
No. Coincidence, damn it. Coincidence. Absolute coincidence. And first of all, you lot, press the like button before you do anything else. Right, press the like button. Have you done it? Right, great. Okay, well done. It helps us. Okay. So basically, she's given, Mahmood has given extra powers to the police, which is wonderful, isn't it? We're all welcoming this here. I mean, you could tell that she's got our best interests at heart, really, isn't she? There couldn't be anything else going on in the background there. So these new powers mean that they can shut down gatherings just because they sort of happen too often in the same place too often. But what constitutes too often, incidentally? What, is that once a year? Is that twice a year, 3 times a year? What constitutes that? I mean, that's what we don't fully know at the moment. And this cumulative impact, that's an interesting turn of phrase. It's so vague, it can actually mean anything. It's just, the cumulative impact of those people. Yeah, cumulative impact. It's cumulative impact. Cumulative impact, we all, yes. Oh, by the way, I'm singing a song later about this, and I've decided to do it in a rather dark style. Yes, so Jeff, over to you.
Right, okay, yeah. So these new laws will attempt to deal with the cumulative effects of incessant demonstrations on local communities, with the only example so far of that type of protest being the woke-driven Pally protests attended by the usual suspects. Those who attended the incessant Just Stop Oil protests, which for some reason appear to have completely fizzled out. Could it be that the hardline communists think that the Pally protests are a more certain route to the destruction of the UK as a functioning sovereign nation? I do have my suspicions on that one. And here was me thinking that the climate emergency was the most important thing to those people and their little gremlin boss, Greta Thunberg. But it seems Palestine is their obsession right now, though, doesn't it? The cremation of the earth doesn't seem to bother them anymore. Maybe it never really did. So what do you reckon, Richard?
Oh, some good points there, Jeff, actually, yes. Yeah, I mean, the real sort of target here in terms of these new powers, I mean, it's not really violent mobs, is it? Which I find really strange. It's ordinary people who sort of keep showing up outside hotels and town halls and council offices. They're the target. That's what you have to remember. This is not about, any sort of far-right thuggery that they perceive. Yes. I'm not going into that nonsense again. It's all about public safety and control, and people can feel safe in their communities. Which communities? Which people? Who specifically are you talking about? We're all doing fine, and we're actually quite liking a lot of these protests. There are some protests that we find distasteful, that we wish were not going on. I can tell you now, there's some protests I'm not very happy with right now, and probably neither are you. Ones which are anti-Semitic and racist at the end of the day and call for the death of Jews. I'm not too happy about that, but that they could be easily dealt with. But no, there has to be this bull, absolute complete bull BS parity apparently between everything. Oh yes, we do it, yeah, but it won't be parity, will it? You know what this is for? This is targeted towards the British people. This is nothing to do with, I mean, they're trying to make out as if the timing's about these Palestinian protests. That's what they're trying to make out, but they're not. It's not even doing that. I don't even know what they're trying to do. All I know is it's not going to work, and they think we're frightened of them. They actually think that we are frightened of them, or this government, of what they're doing. I'm sorry, you're not going to stop people from protesting by doing this. You're going to encourage it. That's what you're doing. You're actually throwing petrol onto the bonfire here. Jeff.
Yeah, it's quite interesting you should say that, because, the Palestine Action Group that is proscribed, and it's got all those supporters out there still supporting a prescribed organisation, lots of old people of about my age, for some reason supporting them. Anyway, here's what The Independent says about what the supporters of the proscribed group Palestine Action are actually saying. From The Independent, protesters backing Palestine Action vow major escalation in campaign amid crackdown. Defend our juries brand Home Secretary's plan to give police greater powers to restrict protests an extraordinary new affront to democracy. And they also said that a protest group campaigning against the proscription of Palestine Action as a terror organisation has promised civil disobedience in key cities and towns across Britain after the Home Secretary announced police would be given greater powers to restrict demonstrations. Defend Our Juries warned of a major escalation in its campaign after Shamana Mahmood's announcement on Sunday, which followed a protest held by the group on Saturday when there were almost 500 arrests. So you can see that certain people aren't going to give up. They don't think that the Home Secretary and the police have any real powers to stop them, do they? And now that the numbers of arrests have gone up, was it, 2,000 or something, I think, over those, it might be 1,000 or 2,000, I can't remember. They don't care. They don't care. What does it matter to them? They'll go to court, get a slap on the wrist, and off they go again. And for people of a certain age who aren't going to work, who own their own house, so what if they get a criminal conviction or whatever? Does it matter to them? Well, it might do when they go in for some car insurance or something like that, because they have to declare things like that. But we got to the stage now where the government is trying to stop both sides of the protest. In reality, they've got themselves into a real muck because they are trying to control society. And it's turning out to be uncontrollable because they've sidelined for decades. They've sidelined ordinary British people and favoured everyone else that comes here. And now that everyone that comes here has suddenly said, no, we want this different. You have got to obey us now because we're the strong ones. And suddenly the government's
Jeff, there's more
caught
to
in the middle.
this. I think there's more to this, Jeff. And I think timing could be interesting here. Now, let's just hypothetically say that this new peace deal between that Donald Trump's proposing, where him and good old Tony Blair will be running Gaza. What if that works? Are they going to be protesting then? Are the left going to be protesting then? Free Palestine. I'm not so sure. As soon as the killing stops in Gaza, as soon as that stops, they've got less ammo and less impetus to be out in the streets. I don't know. Mind you, a lot of them just do hate Donald Trump, period, and anything, any kind of they might actually hate peace itself, regardless of anything. So what I'm wondering, though, is maybe this has come along now because they can see that there could be peace in the future, less protesters on the Palestinian front. I don't know. I just wanted to throw that one out there. Just a little bit of a curved ball, that one. Yeah, I've even got my blue pen out because I was really thinking about this. You had
to think about it, didn't you?
At the end of the day, it's like this, Jeff. You need to think about this because if the Palestine action protests slow down, then now would be the perfect time to bring such a thing in because it would appear as if they're trying to stop the Palestine action and doing this with parity across the board. However, this is just targeted really towards the Unite the Kingdom movement and to those people protesting outside hotels. I don't know.
What I said at the beginning, wasn't it? The timing of this gets me because it seems to be coming along just as we're finding our voice. That's what I was saying. We're just finding our voice, just beginning to gain ground, and suddenly these laws come out. So I do wonder about the timing. Just a quick thank you very much to Rusty Nuts, another robot from the mothership. Thank you very much.
She is indeed. Yes, I think that's about Shabana.
Absolutely.
Mahmood.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't say her name properly. I had too many. I've had a headache for about 4 days, ladies and gentlemen. And earlier on, I took some pretty industrial painkillers, and it's a good job I stuck to the recommended dose, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. There you go. Anyway, The Independent goes on a bit more because, Palestine Action and its acolytes want carte blanche, really, to cause more damage in the UK. This is what Palestine Action did. They used to go and attack banks and attack what they saw as horrible defence companies and pour paint into aircraft engine, our Royal Air Force jet engines and stuff like that. But The Independent went on to say that these moves comes after 488 people were arrested for supporting Palestine Action in a vigil staged in Trafalgar Square on Saturday, bringing the total number of arrests, for defying the ban of the group to 2,000, according to the Department of Justice, which is quite a significant sort of number, isn't it? And it went on to say a spokesperson for the campaign group said, "It beggars belief that the government has responded to widespread condemnation of its unprecedented attack on the right to protest from the United Nations, Amnesty International, legal experts, and even the former Director of Public Prosecutions by announcing a further crackdown on free speech and assembly in our country. This confirms what we've warned all along. The proscription of Palestine Action was never just about one group. It's a dangerous, authoritarian escalation that threatens everyone's right to protest in our country." So they're actually saying that it is a general thing, that it's across the board. And that may well be the case. But I don't think that these people would be worrying if the Unite the Kingdom protests were targeted in that particular manner, would they? I just don't think they would at all. They'd be saying how wonderful it was
Yeah, but these are police powers. This is what I'm thinking. These are specifically
Yes.
police powers. Now, somebody could say something to the police, but it depends on who's in uniform on the streets on that day. If one chap happens to be left-leaning, he might go, "Oh, sorry, this is all a bit too disruptive. All you people, all you lovely ladies in pink who are here protesting because there's something rather dark and sinister been happening in your community." There's no court involved. There's no vote. There's no real recourse. It's just, yeah, sorry, but yeah, it's a bit disruptive today. Yeah, it's the cumulative effect. Be careful, that cumulative effect. It'll creep up on you in the middle of the night, Yeah.
It accumulates.
It does.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
The thing about that, as you point out, that it is police powers, it's another way of the politicians palming off political decisions on the officials, on the police. It's now up to the police to make the political decision of whether it is cumulative on the local community. So if the local community gets together and says we're being cumulatively affected by this, instead of going to their local MP or to their local councillors, they now go to the Police and Crime Commissioner and the Chief of Police. Does that seem the right way to be doing this? Somehow it doesn't to me. Politicians need to be taking more responsibility for their actions. This is a way of Shamana Mahmood and all her cronies, all the rest of them in there, making laws that affect you and me, and then leaving it to other people to pick up all the pieces and try and keep the country together. It's their job to do that. Their job to read the room. Their job to decide when it's going too far, not just leave it to the police. So I reckon it will fall over. It will fall apart on that basis, I think, because it shouldn't be the police's job to do that. That's just my view anyway.
Yeah, well, it's using the police. The police almost become like a filter as well, because I'm sure they'll be given certain guidelines in which to operate within. I'm sure those will be attached with this new law, or potentially, even if that's not the case at the moment. So yeah, the police become a filter for society. What is deemed? I mean, this is the crazy thing. It's about the repetition of it and the frequency of these marches. But frequency and repetition is a way of the masses expressing their dislike of something. Okay, so we've got a small portion of society who are protesting in these pally idiotic marches, right? Fine, whatever, okay. They're doing that. They're just showing themselves up to be the idiots that they are. And the anti-Semitism that's taking place there, the racist chants, that's fine, apparently. But it's one of those weird things. I find those protests utterly loathsome. However, you got to sit back and you got to think, well, they still got a right to do it, haven't they? And if they've got a right to do what they do, then so do we. We have the right to be able to protest. And yet, for some reason, we don't have that. There is two-tier application of justice here and interpretation of the law, I should say. A two-tier interpretation. That's a new one, Jeff. Write that one down, for goodness sake, man. Yeah, that's what's taking place. Anger moment. Carry on, Jeff.
Yes. Someone's put a comment in here saying, "Oh, Gary Neville, Gary Neville." I would just point out that Gary Neville made some extraordinary remarks about middle-aged white men, and guess what Sky News are doing about it? Nothing. They've declared they're doing nothing about it. Nothing, not a thing.
Well,
you won't face any repercussions, as usual, from the lefty
it's
people.
Just middle-aged
Anyway,
white men.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just getting angry again. Yes, when Mahmood, it's so you won't riot when Mahmood is installed as PM and the Islam flag waves above Westminster. No, I don't see the Islam flag being waving above Westminster. That's a bit down the line for them. But having Mahmood as Prime Minister would definitely send messages to the rest of the world, I think.
Well, hang on a second.
yeah.
Hang on. What you mean? Like, I mean, is that about it being a Muslim prime minister? Which is nothing wrong with, of course. I can't be thinking that. Nobody can be thinking that or saying that. That's ridiculous. Of course, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's like there seems to be a lot of chatter about, for instance, Mohammed Zia Youssef taking over from Nigel Farage. People are fine with that. So it's like, yeah, whatever. And they seem to be okay. Oh, incidentally, speaking of which, I tell you what, the Tories are really laying in right now. There's something interesting going on in the Tory party at the moment. I'm not saying vote Tory, by the way, but let's acknowledge what's happening. We have to debate these things and talk about them. It's like this. You've now got, well, even Farage himself predicted this. He said eventually, that we will be more to the left, or the Tories will be more right-wing than Reform will. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Well, now he's proven it, because they are coming up with policies that seem to be, in some respects, trouncing Reform's policies. But I'm sorry, I still think the Tories have a long way to go to regain all that ground. But this is the battle. The battle now is on the right. It's going to be a sort of like one-upmanship, isn't it? You're going to have who can come up with the most appealing policies for the electorate. My goodness, how revolutionary a thought is that? Let's try and do something that the people want.
No, don't do that. No, they won't do that. Anyway, the thing is that Farage has hitched his horse to the centre ground, and I think his thinking is that the Tories will swing right and marginalise themselves, and he will end up with right of centre policies, but capturing the Lib Dem type vote. But I'm not sure that'll happen, because the Lib Dems seem to be doing quite well on their own. All they have to do is put a leader in charge who does ridiculous things and prances about in front of a band, and they seem to love it.
Yeah.
So
it does seem like Farage at the moment has got an obsession with the centre ground. But I mean, Tony Blair, I hate saying that name. It's like, I feel like something creepy just touched me when I say that name. Anyway, I don't know why. But Tony Blair did say many years ago that general elections in Britain are fought on the centre ground and the middle ground. I thought, I used to think, yeah. But now I'm not so sure. I think the centre ground is, it's a bit of a red herring.
No, actually, he's got a point. It's fought on the centre ground of the political views of the day. And what a politician's trick is,
good point.
It's the Overton window sort of concept. It's where are the people's views? Now, if the people's views are right of Attila the Hun, then that's where you've got to be. And that's all you can really say. I just want to say thank you very much, Gary Plain, for your super sticker. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary. Yeah. Jeff, I was enjoying seeing your head bobbing back and forth and side to side. That was a great movement. It was like that. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. It's the painkillers. They're great.
So there you go. Anyway, now, as I said, these Palestine Action protesters have actually said that they will continue and they will up their campaign. So basically, they will up the campaign to allow them to protest in favour of what is in effect violent against property and, in a couple of instances, been violent against people organisation. I say, keep your continual repeat protests off the street and fight your battle in the court first. They have done enough of all this out on the streets bit. Let's get through the court and see what happens, because that's what's going to happen to the rest of us. So, And the other protest that is spreading quite a lot is, as you mentioned earlier, Richard, the pink protests. And they're beginning to spread and get more frequent. So you wonder if they're going to be Mahmood's next target. And the next pink protest is in Tower Hamlets tomorrow evening at 5 o'clock. In response to the Tower Hamlets Council debate in their chambers tomorrow evening, all based on the premise that the pink protesters and the Fly the Flag movement are far right. So what they're going to do is turn up in Tower Hamlets, lots and lots of women dressed in pink outside the council building. There's the addresses out there, and protest against it. I don't know whether you've seen what the Tower Hamlets sort of council are saying. Basically, anything that doesn't agree with them is and doesn't agree that having 90 languages amongst the people of one constituency is a marvellous thing, is a racist, and oh dear. And they even had...
I don't get this.
They also talk about immigration is wonderful, blah, 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 all the rest of it. And then they say, but what we're going to vote for is local jobs for local people. Not very diverse, do you think? But there you go.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, local people, who are the local people they're talking about? That's the thing.
Exactly.
But locals are locals, ladies and gentlemen, and don't you forget it.
Yes. Oh, Lord Viking says, good evening, gents. Good evening, Lord Viking.
Good evening, Lord Viking, and good evening to everybody in the chat as well. It's lovely to be here and see you all. Great, fantastic. And I mean that, it is lovely to see you all. There are some great people in here.
Now, Camo Adventure World says, the police don't even know their own powers. They're useless. Yes. I think we got to the position where the law is so complicated in most areas, from tax to local council to criminal law to court procedures. They're all so full of procedures that no one is allowed to actually use their common dog sense, if you see what I mean. They're not allowed to use common sense. You have to follow these rules, and this does lead to people making mistakes, and silly mistakes, because they can't apply common sense. So the first thing that comes into their mind is something that's common sense. But then they think, obviously, that can't be true because all the laws of the land are not common sense. We need to get back to common sense policing, common sense laws, so that when people make a judgment, then you can sort of see it for what it is. It's not a tick box exercise. It's not a DEI exercise. It's not, putting one section of society above another. And that's where we're at right now. It's just not right. Yes, as CR says, there are a bunch of thugs in high vis now. You sort of look at it and you go, yeah. Oh, come on, Scout Finch. Come on. Oh, dearie, dearie me. We could never agree with that, could we, Richard?
I remain silent.
Well, we've been called a pair of boiled eggs before, so yeah.
Well, we've been called everything. I don't care.
All
Whatever.
things.
Call me what you like. Carry on.
Robert Jones says Sadiq Khan is in charge of the Met Police. Do you honestly think he will tell them to stop the Pally protests? Yeah.
No.
Exactly. You have to look at people and see them. And just ask yourself the question, don't you? Really?
Hang on, Jeff. If they do try and stop the Pally protests, like really, we know the people who are involved in this now. We know what's going on, all right? We know the attitude of many of the people there, okay? And what they're prepared to do that us on the so-called right or whatever, far right, hard right, I don't know. I don't care what they call us anymore. But anyway, they're prepared to do things that we would never do. We have seen this. We have seen this time and time again. We have seen what Palestine Action have been getting up to. And yet there's still people out there saying they support it and they're part of it. It's like, okay, all right. I wonder how long their jail sentences will be, but that's another matter entirely. Even for being in, supporting proscribed terrorist groups. But it appears as if they're going to be getting away scot-free. But we all know what will happen. It's going to be very interesting if they do try and stop some of these marches because of their frequency. You know, I mean, yeah, that's going to be very interesting. Things could turn pretty nasty, I think. Unfortunately, we don't want nastiness on our streets of Britain, but unfortunately, Britain has become a very different country, ladies and gentlemen, to the one which I grew up in, and that Jeff grew up in, and probably most of you watching grew up in. This is no longer that United Kingdom, but we're going to bring it back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to do it. We're going to stay positive. We're optimistic. We're going to do it. We're going to do it with various different means, but the main form is through the political system, through Advance UK. We are hoping, because Ben Habib came out today and he said, you know, it's interesting how I think is it Farage and Kemi Badenoch have both agreed to continue, I believe, payments to EU benefits payments to EU citizens in the UK. However, Advance UK will stop those benefits to even EU citizens. I think, was it 1.5 million, is it? I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's a lot. There is a lot.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing I will say, just to, you know, I mean, I'm right behind Advance UK, and I hope they thought the way through, is that under the Brexit agreement that we came to, we have to pay benefits because they pay benefits for our people over there. And it's a quid pro quo thing. If we stop that, I don't know what the repercussions are. Maybe Advance UK have got something I don't know about, but I just do put that in as a sort of...
But here's another thing, though, Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff, at the end of the day, let's think about it rationally. Why should other countries pay for benefits for our citizens? You know, let's be realistic about this. Why should they? You know, what reason? What moral obligation is there for French people to pay for? Yeah.
It was only ever there because the EU wanted to become its own state. And then everybody in there gets equal treatment, equal pay. Everything was going to be the same for everybody. And there would be no country. In fact, under the EU, they were already trying to dismantle our states by doing the flags down, weren't they? You must fly our flag, not your flag. Put your flag on your number plates. Put the EU flag on the number plates. Put the EU plaque on every new building and every new bridge. That's what they were saying. So that everybody thought this is all EU and nothing to do with the nation states that were part of it. So they were vilifying our flag for years before we got to this position. And that's a lot to do with it. It's been vilified already to get people here and treat it as an internationalist area of the world.
I've got to say, I've been loving...
Yeah.
Go on.
So I'll just say thank you to Abar Stewart, talking about the recall of MPs Act 2015, use it. I did see a comment, it probably might be from Bar Stewart earlier on, talking about you only need 10% of voters to trigger the first thing that has to happen is they have to have committed quite a high offence legally before the speaker is allowed to put forward a petition, a recall petition to allow it. So they got to go to prison or something like that, or act so badly in the Houses of Parliament they get thrown out, that sort of thing, before the Recall Act can actually be used. So, but it has caused a few by-elections, you know, when people are being guilty of all sorts of nasty offences against women and stuff like that.
I mean, Starmer's, I'm just reading the Telegraph here, Starmer's aide blocked China spy trial despite MI5 evidence. I mean that alone should, in a decent society and in a fair society, should trigger a general election, I would have thought. But
yeah, that should. There's things like that which now ministers and prime ministers and politicians, they just go, I don't care. I've got a job. I'm a minister. I get lots of pay. I'm not going to rock the boat. What has morals and being a grown-up statesman got to do with that? I've got a pension to feed. You know, it's that sort of thing. Also, thank you to Fat Cat. Can we call you Jeff the Film? I'm not quite where that came from. Jeff the Film.
Yeah, That's a good. Well, why not call him? Yeah, he's now Jeff the Film. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? It's a good name. So I just reading the Express here. The headline is "Take That, Nigel. Kemi Badenoch has just proved why reform don't stand a chance." I'm like, you are. Haven't you seen the polls? I mean, this is talk about being biased. My goodness. I mean, you'd swear. No, I can't actually say that this was paid for, but somebody's just got very strong feelings for the Conservative Party quite clearly. But there is a little bit of merit. There is a smidgen little of merit in that, because the Tories are going to be staging a comeback now. They're not going to go without a fight. They're not going to go down without a fight. I can tell you now, it's going to happen. And as I said, it's going to be strange. It's just going to be quite an exciting time politically, because it's like you're going to see everyone trying to shift to the centre, as you rightly said, of this Overton window as it moves more to the right, and then you got Ben Habib booting the pair of them at the backside, saying, "Not far, nope, further, move it further, move that window further." Yeah, rubbish, absolute rubbish. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, that's why I like him. Yeah. Now, Edward Goldentooth has his firm ideas about. I believe that's our Home Secretary. I can't put that one up because Mahmood is a dirty something. It would be a bit could be deemed
so we
as
can't
racist by some people.
Yes.
But we do acknowledge. Thank you very much.
Well, we can't put that up. I'm really sorry as well. But we can't be putting anything that could be construed in any way as that. So because we're very, very good on the Jeff Taylor channel. Yes, and we are Online Safety Act compliant, and Yes,
I'm trying to look something up right now, Richard, which I don't think I've ever seen before.
Oh. Well, you're not Googling yourself again,
right.
are you?
Sorry. Right, I get this now. Sorry. This is Fat Cat again. Let's have a look. Talking about Jeff the Film. And he's saying that it's Jeff the Film like Jones the Steam. Get it? And I had to quickly look that up.
Jones the Steam. I know Jones the Steam.
The Steam is the cheerful and kind-hearted engine driver from the children's TV series Ivor the Engine.
Ivor the Engine.
Me, cheerful and kind-hearted? You don't know me at all.
Hey, do you remember Ivor the Engine? You remember?
Oh, yes.
That was the sound effect of the train going. Somebody was going.
Yes, we know that, Richard. Yeah, we got that.
But it was brilliant. It was brilliant. It was like, wow, listen to that train go. As a kid, you thought, that was enthralling. These days, it's all, whatchamacallit, CGI and all that sort of nonsense.
Yes. Anyway, I will say that you may have missed it, but today 3 men who pleaded guilty to offences committed outside of an Epping Asylum hotel have all been sent to jail for 22 to 28 months, and so got longer behind bars than the male small boat arrival who assaulted a 14-year-old girl in the town. Now, a lot of people are up in arms about that. However, I will say for completeness, and despite some people's strong feelings, I will add that according to the Mail report, the 3 men jailed today did have previous violence-related convictions. So bear that in mind. And that's why Tommy Robinson is absolutely focused on convincing those who wish to do silly things to stay away. And he's right. And it's just a pity that got into the Epping, because I've been to 3 of those, and it's normally it's quite high spirited, but I've never seen any violence there myself. But I can't stay all night, so I usually go quite early, having sort of covered sort of from 6 till 8 or something. So I don't know what goes on after that. But I would just put that in for completeness. People won't want to hear it, I know. But the main thing is we need to keep people who are that high-spirited or have previous, we need to keep them away because it just tarnishes everything. And Tommy knows that. He's absolutely adamant about that every single time. Anyway, so
hang on a second,
Scrappy-Doo
Jeff.
says,
Yeah,
"We
Lord
are
Viking just now.
English."
Yeah, hang on. Lord Viking just said, hang on, it's more like, not mind Jones's team, you're more like, what's his name called it? Steed, is it, from the Avengers, which actually makes me Mrs. Peel. So, no, I am not Mrs. Peel, thank you very much. Lord Viking, you are in my bad books.
Yes, Steed with his umbrella. I've got an umbrella. I'll have to bring that next time, won't I?
Yeah. And
But
thank you to
and it's got
Chris. Yeah, sorry, Chris Luke Zumandis for your contribution there. Thank you, Chris. That's much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
Mate. Thank you.
Yep. And also to Edward Golden Tooth, and now says never plead guilty, fukum. That is part of the problem. So that when you get in for some of these offences, they will try to make it easy on the judge, make it easy on everybody. Just plead guilty and you might get let off a bit easier. That never seems to happen to people of a certain persuasion, if you get my drift.
Mm.
Yes. Well, just trying to see. Oh, dear. Comments, I can't keep up with them. I'm way behind. Oh, yeah, we did a video on this the other day, didn't we? Lord Viking. Lammy booed out was marvellous. We did a... Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'd love to show it.
That was
In fact,
poetry.
I might have the video somewhere. I'd love to show it again.
Yeah, that was poetry. That really was. That was amazing.
It really was. I mean, his total attitude was just,
disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I mean, there he was trying
David
to
Smith.
sort of make out, as if he was there with some compassion. The man has no compassion.
He had no emotion,
Starmer,
did he?
Starmer turned up, I believe, in Manchester. However, he didn't meet any of the crowds because he knows what the reaction would have been. He was too much of a coward. And that's our Prime Minister. That's the leader of this country. Which, in some ways, I had a mild smidging of respect for, what's his name, David Lammy, turning up there. Because he actually knew he was the fall guy. He took the flak. I thought, oh, fair enough. Nobody likes you. And everybody there was rightfully venting their spleens at him. But, yeah. Sorry, carry on, Jeff.
Yeah, it's quite funny because, as you say, he was there and he... And right at the beginning, he was being heckled before he even started. And the person who's trying to introduce him turned round and had a chat with a couple of people. Obviously, I think they're asking him, do you really want to continue with this? And he said, yes, I do. I will, So I thought, that's interesting. In fact, shall I play it?
Do you have to? I can't listen to his voice again. Oh.
No, I'll play the first bit. Just the first bit.
Go on. Oh, yeah, go on. Yeah.
Let's see if I can find this. Then at least you'll get what we're talking about. I found it, but I've got to upload it, silly me.
This is Jeff and Czech technology. Ladies and gentlemen, we had some
don't you
fun
talk,
earlier.
Don't you talk.
Prime Minister David Lammy, and before I do, please, we know how we all feel.
Oh, yeah. They did.
Go to Palestine.
Go to Palestine! Leave us alone!
They allowed it to grow on a campuses. My children's school was closed today. You have allowed this to happen.
You have blood in your hands!
You're all guilty of it all. You have allowed Jew hatred in Manchester on the street. You have allowed it. You are all guilty. We do not want you speaking here today. You do not speak for us. We do not want you speaking. Shame on you. Shame on you!
Shame on you! Shame on you!
Shame on you! Shame on you!
He's seeing whether he wants to come out.
Okay,
There he is.
We've heard enough. We've heard enough. We've heard enough. We know how you feel. I know how I feel. Let's give the time for our Deputy Prime Minister to address us. David Lammy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, just to remind people, he
As I said
wasn't well
previously-
liked for turning up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably the warmest welcome he's had outside of Labour Party comms, as I said last time.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, just something in The Guardian has grabbed me as well, Jeff.
What? Say that
In The
again.
Guardian.
Say-
Yes, in The Guardian.
In The Guardian.
Yeah, yeah. That rag. Robert Jenrick complained of not seeing another white face in part of Birmingham. Oof, the racist. Shadow Justice Secretary criticised for suggesting he could tell how integrated Handsworth was based on a short visit. Robert Jenrick complained about visiting an area of Birmingham where he didn't see another white face and said it was not the kind of country he wanted to live in. What a racist. What an oaf. Must be far right, Jeff, I reckon. After highlighting the lack of white people, the Shadow Justice Secretary said, it was not about the colour of your skin or your faith, and he wanted people to live alongside each other. Okay. Jeff, it's just, yeah, I have to be careful what I say in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I couldn't possibly agree with Robert Jenrick. Not for one moment could I absolutely not know, under no circumstances. Yeah. Oh, it does say here, however, he has been criticised by the area's MP for suggesting he could tell whether Handsworth was properly integrated based on whether there were any white people living in the area during a 90-minute period. There's lots of things I could say here, Jeff, but I can't for some reason, and I can't remember why I can't say it.
I'm going to say what people should be saying is, why has this thing called white flight occurred? Surely, in a properly integrated nation, we should be trying to reverse that and getting the mix in the cities the same as it is outside the cities, so that we have the same sort of proportions throughout the country.
No,
But
racist.
the only people who ever get vilified are those not living in the cities. They're the ones vilified for not having a mix. No one else does. And that has to change. It has to change. We need people to to go back and want to go back to live in London, in Birmingham, Bradford, Manchester and places like that. It must happen for cohesiveness. How's that?
I think that's a bit of an outlandish thing to do, actually, Jeff. You know, you'd have all these. So what you're saying is there should be, you know, so it should be like a BBC, a BBC film or or period drama where everybody is there's an equal proportion of each. Actually, no, the BBC, there are less white people in BBC dramas and documentaries and films, because, as we all know, there were much less white people going back 300-400 years ago living in Britain. That's a fact.
And there are now.
Oh, hang on. yeah. Because that's why you see so much of this. I mean, you know, is this again? This isn't about the thing. It's just even talking about this. Some people were saying you're being racist. I'm like, I'm just trying to be factual and look at historical, the correct representation in history in period dramas and what's wrong with that. But no, I mean, as I said, I think, you know, we definitely need to have the BBC bring Lawrence Fox back into the fold, and they should do a new film of Gandhi where Lawrence Fox plays Gandhi. I'm convinced that'll be a winner. It'll be really good. Because why can't Lawrence Fox play Gandhi? What's wrong with that? I think
because he's not he's not a female.
Ah, yes, that's spot on. That is, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so Lawrence Fox may be in a dress playing Gandhi. Might be historically, well, it's all going to be equal, and represent the feelings and the mood of the nation. Yeah.
Now, as I've said this one before, but it always does tickle me, so I'm going to say it again. The most interesting exercise in filmmaking today would be a rerun of Zulu, because you'd have to replace the upper crust English officers. You'd have to change the Welsh soldiers and the Zulus around, but somehow the Zulus would still have to win. You get the idea how difficult it would be to make Zulu today. It would be impossible. You'd have Welsh Zulus, wouldn't you? It would be a nightmare trying to make that film. It would just be impossible.
No, we should have, just because one person's one colour doesn't mean you can't play another. It's like, if like David Lammy, once he finishes in politics, he could play Churchill, couldn't he? Yeah, that would work. That would work really well, I think. Yeah. We could do a film on
what I'm trying to say is that which side would have to win? Or no, actually, it'd be a draw, wouldn't it? They'd have to have a draw.
Yeah.
And then have a big kumbaya thing around the fire at the end. That's how it would have to end.
Yeah.
And that is historically correct.
Yeah, and Diane Arbut could play Einstein in a film about his life. Or
Yes,
their life.
yeah.
Their life. They, them,
Yes.
life. Yeah.
Oh, this one's so true. What does this button do? It is hard to find a loo in a zoo. Actually, I find it hard to find a loo in a place like London, especially during a demonstration. It's
Don't you get it?
Really quite
It's
difficult.
a Zulu, isn't it? It's a Zulu.
Yeah.
You want to be careful where you go as well. If you listen as well, if you're in a zoo, be careful where you go. You make sure you go to an actual toilet, and you don't want to be doing stuff like that in the, in the lion enclosure. Well,
it's not the lion enclosure; it's a snake enclosure that would worry me.
Oh,
mating snakes and things.
All right, Jeff. Bloody hell.
John Baxter says, I'm going to go watch Zulu. Oh, dear me. I'm going to go and watch Zulu now. Yeah, I've got it. So I've got the film Zulu somewhere. I'll have to go and dig it out. It's a brilliant film. Brilliant. Oh, dear. Actually, here's is it Jock or Jack? Jack says, I once had a friend nicknamed Zulu whose real name is Zulfikar Hussain. Now, I can imagine that going back in the day, because I was in the Royal Navy and the Army was the same, Royal Air Force. It didn't matter. I mean, it's not just about colour. It's also about, the things you called the Welsh and the Scots and the Irish, and they'd call you back. And when foreigners came, they'd call you things, you'd call them things. But it was all brilliant fun, and we loved it. We loved each other. There was never any acrimony in it at all. So,
none.
Yeah.
It's quite funny because I think
people
about, growing up in the South Wales valleys, right, down in Merthyr Tydfil. Okay, so down there we had ripping the Mickey out of each other, we'll call it, down to an art form. We would tear each other apart, and it was, but that was the way the world was back then, and people didn't take things to heart, and weren't. And if somebody says something offensive, it's like, okay, so that's offensive. Does that mean it should be illegal because it's offensive? It's like, oh, I didn't like that. I'm offended. So if we've got a society then is living in a permanent, constant state of offence, you can't do or say anything. It's like comedy today. Comedy's gone rubbish. Comedy is now utterly unwatchable. It's not funny because humor tends to be where something is the butt of the joke, okay? But if something to be the butt of the joke today, that will cause offense. It's like, okay. Oh, great.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, it is very difficult nowadays, fun and all the rest of it. Yes. Zulu is on YouTube. Zulu is on YouTube. Yes.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Well, now, ladies and gentlemen,
have we got to that
forget,
time, Richard?
Yeah, we have. I don't know if I can play guitar tonight. I don't know. Oh, I said I'd do it. I'm going to have to do it.
Yes, you did. We're going to hold you to it.
All right, then, ladies and gentlemen. Hang on, let me just get the settings right here, Jeff. I'm way too tired for all this nonsense. Good grief, man. Right, then. Okay, so here we go. Hang on. Good. Here we go. It's a bit difficult to do. You lot don't understand. I'm tired and I got a headache. Right, here we go. I'll stop moaning. They say we're free to speak our minds, but only once, you see. If you march through weapon twice, my friend, you're close to anarchy. The rules are there for order's sake, to keep us all in line. But freedom needs a timetable, it's running out of time. But Starmer says we are free, as long as we agree. We're free to nod, we're free to pay, and free to disagree quietly. The coppers count the footsteps now, they're logging every shout. They're timing how the anger moves and where it's running out. The placards sleep in attics now, the paint has cracked and dried. We used to stand for what was ours, but now we're told to step aside. But Starmer says we're free, as long as we agree. We're free to nod, we're free to pay, and free to disagree quietly. There we go. Yeah. As I say, it's a bit of a dark one tonight. I thought I'd do a dark kind of like...
Yeah. Yes. Someone says you need a more shouty voice. Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting him another microphone because that's the problem.
I need to get this microphone sorted out, and There we go. So but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for
we've still got
tuning in.
We've still got
oh, hang on. What's this?
Right. Here we go. Thank you, Fat Cat. When Starmer lectures us, he sounds like a Dalek. Yes, he does, doesn't he? Sounds like a very nasal Dalek. Something like Rachel Reeves does as well. Yes.
Yeah, they've got the same voice box.
Yeah. And Ridley X, thank you very much. He says, hi, Jeff. Hi, Richard. So nice to meet you at the Advance UK launch, Jeff. Love and support from the Macam who snuck over to Newcastle to support Ben. Yes, you were very coy, weren't you? Yes. And John C., thank you very much. Love it, Richard. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much
for that. So, yeah. So, on that note, which is very apt... After you've liked, subscribed and commented and all the rest of it and joined the channel membership. And also remembered to, in your mobile app, to select to receive notifications. If you don't do that, it doesn't matter how many people you You think I'm going to subscribe to all these different people. You won't hear from them unless you do actually accept notifications in your app. And I found I hadn't done it because I thought, why don't I ever get notifications from these people? Is YouTube playing up? No, it was me not enabling the app. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
that
the
does
important
happen.
bit.
Yeah. Jeff and technology. We had a stonker earlier, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, shut up.
I heard Jeff I was on the phone to Jeff. There you are. And it was just brilliant. I was on the phone to Jeff. He said, I've got a major problem with my camera. I thought, oh gosh, what is it? Well, what's happened? What's happened? And he's like, I can't talk. I've got to sort this out. Rings me back. I've sorted it out. Oh, okay. Well, what was the problem then, Jeff? There's this black cloak that goes over the back of an auto cue, and he had it on the front, covering the actual lens. Yeah, so fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. There we go.
Thank you for that, Richard.
Well, you know.
But there you go. Anyway, and on that note of my superior technical expertise, I will say it's good night or goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye and good night from Mr. Jeff Taylor. Goodbye. Good night.
Goodbye.